You have entered a safe zone.
No shit. Yo, honey! I've been out divisioning all day. We got dinner ready yet? Babe? Honey? Sarah! Oh, the goddamn... Ah!
I'm gonna cut right to the chase. The Division is just another example of the shattered fresh hell we have to look forward to in modern gaming. An always online, forced co-op bore fest with more bugs than the $2 hooker's crab-infested bush. A rushed, completely derivative, vacuous title that steals its plot from old movies, its gameplay from old games, and the passion for gaming from my fucking soul. What can I say about the Division that I haven't already been saying about this shit for years? When your enjoyment of a game depends solely upon the quality of the players you're playing it with, you've got a real fucking problem. And believe me, while it's entirely possible to play these missions on your own, the developers definitely wanted you to play the whole game in co-op, but I'm getting a bit ahead of myself here. The Division takes place in a sort of post-apocalyptic New York. A terrorist infected the city with a modified form of smallpox, which is spread on Black Friday by smearing it on paper money. This should be your first red flag that the plot is half-assed, considering how this game takes place in the near future, and already the vast majority of buying these days is done via credit or debit card. But if we tried to rationalize every problem with the plot, this review would be longer than one of my podcasts. In short, thousands of people die, and the city of New York is taken over by a number of gangs of militias, all fighting for control of the big rotten apple. As it turns out, there's a secret government agency known as the Division that's comprised of sleeper agents living amongst us, who are activated and called into action during catastrophic disasters to maintain control until normalcy is re-established. You play as one of these agents, sent in to take control back from the gangs and to track down the terrorist who caused all of this shit in the first place. You can think I'm exaggerating all you want, but there is not a single aspect of this game that didn't come from something else. The setting and John Carpenter-style synth music is straight out of Escape from New York. The cover-based shooting, when cover works that is, feels a lot like Uncharted, with co-op mechanics from the team-based multiplayer in The Last of Us. The color-coded loot rarity system is the same as what's been used in PC RPGs at least since Diablo, and more recently Borderlands, right down to the colored streams of light that rise up from dropped items. White, green, blue, purple, and gold. Sound familiar? The central base of operations and overall mission structure and its inherent boredom comes right out of Destiny, as do the bullet sponge enemies. New York is split up into several regions, each ruled over by a particular gang who you can easily discern because the members of each gang all dress alike, not unlike the regional baddies you run into in the infamous and Saint Row games. Your central base of operations can be upgraded in various categories. Upgrading the base somehow manages to upgrade your personal stats out in the field. That's realistic. From here, you can buy equipment, mod equipment, build equipment, keep track of how many of the over 300 hidden items you've managed to find, and so on. Each region of the map has its own safe houses where you can duck in to replenish your health, buy ammo and equipment, and hook up with other players working on missions in the same region to go out and see how much damage you can cause. This just points out one major problem with the game right off the bat, and that is with fast travel. These safe houses are scattered all over the map, but rarely are they right up the road from where you're going. So you will spend a massive amount of your time just running from place to place, doing nothing. Hope you like the scenic route, fuckers. You can also look on the map and find players on your friend list and jump into their game or invite them to yours. This is the only time when the game even approaches fun. Many of the missions are playable on their own, but are boring, repetitive slogs where you're ducking in and out of cover, filling enemies with multiple bullets to the head to drain their life bars before moving on to the next set of cover and doing it again. No, the game definitely encourages co-op play, and while you can hook up with randoms, I recommend playing with friends. Shoutouts to Parzival, Got the Frag, my friend Mike, and my new kick-ass friends from Poland who made my time in the Division a lot closer to being bearable. Not only do the missions go by much faster in co-op, but if you're on a team with friends who have good gear and are generally on the same level as you and know what they're doing, the ease with which you can plow through these missions, even on hard mode, becomes a bit of a joke. So the fun, what little there is to be had, is found from you and your teammates joking and clowning around with the various bugs, glitches, and shitty AI, and even that only depends on whether or not everyone is wearing a headset. When playing with a good team, there's only two ways to encounter any real challenge. The challenge mode missions, which are only made harder by giving every enemy ridiculously large life bars with higher damage, or playing in the Dark Zone. The Dark Zone is a section in the middle of the map that hasn't been cleared yet from quarantine. It's isolated and cut off from everything else. You cannot fast travel in the Dark Zone, it uses different currency, and all the loot you find there is contaminated. So the only way to get it out and back to your base is to carry it to various drop locations on the map, where you can call in a chopper to come pick it up and take it to your base of operations. And of course, your contaminated item bag only holds 9 items at a time, and your stash box at your base of operations only holds 30 items at a time. So you're constantly having to zip in and out of the Dark Zone to clear out your stash box, which of course involves running all the way back to the Dark Zone access gate to get back to the main map because there's no fast travel, and that's assuming that you even survive to get your gear on a chopper, since the Dark Zone has its own experience level bar that's not capped at 30 like on the main map, so guys who have been playing nothing but Dark Zone with levels in the 50s and up can run in packs waiting for normal players to get stuck in their loading loot on the chopper animation before going rogue, shooting everyone to death, and stealing the loot. This and other factors makes the Dark Zone, the Division's answer to a lack of player versus player mode, into a griefer's paradise. For example, you instantly go rogue if you do any damage to another player. There are experience and money bonuses for killing rogue agents, not to mention trophies and or achievements, so some players intentionally will run in front of your line of sight while you're shooting at a boss, which of course causes you to go rogue when you shoot them. They then all surround you, kill you, and take your loot, along with a nice money and experience bonus. Add to this the fact that you not only lose your loot, but if you die as a rogue, you also lose experience points, and what you have is one massive, huge area built from the ground up for trolling, all of which could have been eliminated simply by having a separate, real player versus player mode. Now, to be fair, this wasn't as common in the beginning because the penalty for dying as a rogue was initially much higher, so most players tended to be respectful. But then the Dark Zone was patched, and the penalty was greatly reduced, which led to the Dark Zone being filled with squads of griefers roaming the map looking for unsuspecting players to kill and steal from. Sounds fun, don't it? Of course, by the time you see this video, there should have been a patch release that separates the Dark Zone up by gear quality so that you're less likely to get constantly slaughtered by packs of overleveled gold gear rogue death squads, at least until the griefers figure out some way around it. But that doesn't overrule some of the other dumbass aspects of this section of the game I just mentioned. The whole concept of it is a poorly thought out, broken mess. The graphics even on PC are nowhere near as good as what was shown in the 2013 E3 reveal. Of course, by now, this should be expected from any game Ubisoft puts out. It's par for the course. There are some nice effects here and there, don't get me wrong, but any goodwill earned by it is canceled out by numerous glitches during the game, such as your gun being the only part of you visible to other players, server lag that causes your team to suddenly float 4 feet off the ground, or appear to leap 50 yards ahead of you, etc. The music is clearly inspired by John Carpenter's work in the Escape series, a combination of orchestral work and 80s style synth. I have no real complaints other than it being, well, let's be nice and call it an homage to previously existing work. The controls are fine when they work. The cover mechanics seem to choose when they want to work and when they want to take a break and leave your character fidgeting while flanking enemies pump your ass full of bullets. Because the game is always online, even when you're playing alone, you can hit patches of lag where your character stops moving or leaps forward on the map, sometimes right into the midst of a pack of enemies, so you have to quickly run back to cover and hope that it lets you use it. The crafting system is pretty standard when it comes to MMOs. You can sell loot or break it down into component parts used for crafting new gear, but to do that you need blueprints. Some blueprints you earn from side missions, some you have to buy from the store. Some you can buy with money, some you can only buy with Dark Zone money, and some you have to buy with a third currency called Phoenix credits, which you earn from killing bosses, doing the daily challenge missions, and so on. Oh, and did I mention that shortly after release they patched Phoenix credits so that you don't get as many as you used to, making the task of buying blueprints of top-level gold gear even more of a grind than it was when the game launched. Another aspect they borrowed from MMOs, old, ancient MMOs, is queuing. Whether it be an ammo refill crate or a laptop terminal you have to access, if there's a guy in front of you, you can't interact with it until he's done. This causes numerous instances in the game where you can walk into a safe house and see half a dozen players standing in line to reload, or standing in line to activate their agent, or standing in line to matchmake for a mission, and so on. It reminds me for all the world of walking into the gaming area of PlayStation Home and seeing dipshits standing in line to play a round of bowling. It's outdated and stupid as hell. Much of this is stuff that admittedly sucks, but is bullshit you almost come to expect from MMOs and from always online gameplay. Some of it could have been fixed by making the game more like Borderlands, where you can play the game alone offline and invite players into your game or join others as you choose, without worrying about server lag or the servers being down altogether if all you want to do is solo some missions. But then, there's the bugs. Holy flaming fucknuts, the bugs. True. Some early bugs helped players advance faster in the game, like mini bosses that respawned so that you and your team could kill them over and over again to farm Phoenix credit and gold gear drops, but most of the bugs are of another nature entirely, like the aforementioned invisible players, where all you can see is their gun bobbing around in the air, or enemies that get blown inside walls, so their havoc-physic legs stick out from said wall, flopping back and forth like giant limp dicks. Getting stuck in reloading animations so that enemies can come up and shoot you, and all you can do is stand there stroking your gun like it's your forever single unloved cock and just hope beyond hope that it's working again when you respawn. Randomly being dropped out of missions with your friends so that you have to fast travel back to their location and rejoin the team. And the biggest, most frequent offender I ran into during my time with the game is what I like to call the toilet glitch. That's where you randomly fall through the floor like you're a turd the game is flushing out of the map and into an almost bottomless white abyss, where you collapse several times on the ground before dying and respawning outside the level, forcing you to run all the way back to where you were before and hope that you don't... Nope, I fell in again and again. Yep, same spot. God, I hope my team gets to a checkpoint so I can fast travel further. Nope, same spot. Fuck!
Whoa. Hey, honey. What are you doing down there?
Hello to you too, darling. It glitched again. Could you toss me down a rope or something?
What's the magic word?
Now!
Well, you're not getting any help with that attitude. Bye, honey.
Trank mode.
Trank mode engaged. This happened so often when playing with my friends that it became a running joke to see who'd get flushed the most times during a play session. Ubisoft should have made a trophy for that, the Golden Turd Trophy, get flushed 20 times during the same mission. Look, I know there's going to be a lot of people who don't see eye to eye with me on this. If you have a high tolerance for bugs, glitches, and griefers, and you loved the hell out of some Destiny, and you don't mind shelling out $60 for a game that won't be worth shit when the servers go down, which they already do every time Ubisoft decides to change the slightest little thing, no single-player farming for you, sir, then this game is for you. But if you hated Destiny because it was boring as fuck and had a shitty, barely there story, if you can't stand glitches that break the already wafer-thin immersion, if you're like me and don't want to pay $60 for a game you won't be able to play 10 years down the road when the servers are long dead and gone, then this is a game that you should avoid. The Division gets a 4 out of 7.
Hey, Dad. How's it going?
Hi, 8th. It glitched again.
Did you have a nice trip?
Ha ha, very funny. Get me out of here.
Okay, I'll help you for $100 Steam credit.
Why, you little extortionist shit!
Make that $200 Steam credit.
I don't have $200!
See you, Dad.
There's only one thing left to do.
Gamers Alley. Alright, let's see what's good. Hey man, just got a quick question for you.
Alright,
What can you give me for this piece of crap?
let's find out.
Let's find out. How's it been going today?
Pretty good. $30 store credit, 20 cash.
$30 store credit? Sold.